Okay, we are going to move to our last public hearing of the evening. This is case TC2200002, simplifying codes for affordable development. This is a UDO text amendment. Before we start, I do want to just acknowledge one point that I have seen discussed in some email exchanges and public forums. I've seen folks question the timeline of this text amendment process, and I want to make a couple of things very clear. First off, this is not a text amendment proposal from staff. This is a text amendment proposal from a set of private residents. And so when expressing concerns about the process, a lot of that is out of the hands of staff. They obviously have to accommodate the best they can this process as it moves forward, but this is not their proposal. This is a set of developers that have come together to create this proposal. The second thing I want to address is I've seen comments about this having been in the pipeline for the past year, and that is not true. This became public in April or May of this year. And while the applicants had discussed these changes before then, this specific proposal was not in existence before May. And it has gone through two sets of JCCPC review, and JCCPC has made clear that they want this to move forward and voted on that at I guess that was the August. It was the August meeting of JCCPC. They voted to move this forward through the process. And so we are seeing it on our agenda tonight. With that, I want to turn it over to staff for any additional comments or presentations.
Good evening, Grace Smith with the Planning Department. Staff does not have a presentation this evening. We're happy to answer any questions that we can. We know that there's a committee that's been formed to look into this proposal more before an actual formal vote is taken. And we welcome the chance to work with the committee any way we can to help support that work. And we're here for questions.
Thank you. With that, we're going to open the public hearing. We will give the applicant 5 minutes to present. The applicant is Jim Anthony. Jim, you'll have 5 minutes. Please state your name and address and then make your comments.
Thank you. I wish that I could be there with you, but when I found out there was not overnight accommodations in the City Hall, I opted to stay home. We're fortunate to get to be heard at all tonight, and we appreciate the efficiency of how you've handled the agenda tonight and the alacrity at which you've moved everything through to get here. Thank you. I'll simply say that I work on this project as a sort of a figurehead for a lot of people who have encountered frustrations with various elements of the Unified Development Ordinance. That is no surprise to any of you. And what we have attempted to do is collect a variety of these frustrations that have been encountered by a variety of people over the years, and have gotten to the point now where we've created what is a substantial text amendment, no question about it. And it is very clear to us that this is going to take conversations in detail with the subcommittee of the Planning Commission to address the I's and T's that have to be handled in addressing each one of these text amendments. The overarching goal is to remove some of the obstacles to small development projects, particularly in infill neighborhoods. We think that this does a good job of that. We have worked extensively with many different parties. We've had a lot of public engagement, and we have a lot more yet to do. I'm going to pause I think, here and just say that, once again, we look forward to working with you commissioners as well as any other members of the public that want to weigh in on these text amendments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any?
With that, we'll turn to public comment. We had one person who signed up to speak in person. That is Rebecca Freeman. I do not believe I see Rebecca anymore. If there are folks on the call who would like to speak on this item or anyone in person, now would be the time to do so. I see Mimi Kessler has raised their hand. Mimi, you'll have 2 minutes to provide your comments.
Good evening. Again, my name is Mimi Kessler. I live at 1418 Woodland Drive in Durham. I attended a community meeting about this, and it was fairly well attended, and there were some very good questions and a full range of knowledge about what the UDO is and what a text amendment is and the implications of making text amendments. And Mr. Anthony and the other developers that were presenting said that it was a living document and that they would welcome our participation. And they alluded to somebody, not one of the developers, but someone in the audience alluded to a roundtable sort of discussion. And I think that that would be extremely helpful. And so on the basis of, and taking them at their word that they're willing to work with the residents on this, I think that it would be really great if you would continue this so that we have a couple of months to work with the proponents and see if we can find some common ground. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kessler. Next, we have Dot Doyle.
Thank you. I'm Dot Doyle. I live at 2311 Woodrow Street. I attended a meeting that Mr. Anthony and some of his colleagues held on August 30th at what used to be the school across the street from, it's on Club Boulevard across the street from Walltown Recreation Center. I too certainly would encourage you to postpone further discussion of this, well, any decision about this tonight. That I was not, I don't think Mimi was at the same meeting I was at. The one I attended was maybe 20, 25 people. A number of them were the developers. Most of the time seemed to be, from my perspective, to be spent talking about the commercial corridor and not as much about the implications for neighborhoods, which I was particularly interested in. I was undone when one of the developers who was making most of the presentation made the comment that, well, people just don't understand it. They haven't read the text amendment. It is 87 pages. I did try to read it, and it's a bit of a challenge. It's not for lack of trying. I do have several particular concerns. One is that the UDO is slated to be updated, so this does not seem to be the time to do this. There's no traffic impact study in the urban tier. I don't know why not. It's not like we don't have traffic in the urban tier. As Mr. Anthony just said, that or I think it was Mr. Anthony just said right now, that remove the impediments for infill. I don't know how we can call this a zoning code when, if we're not going to have rules about how to do infill in a reasonable way. The past proposals don't seem to have much of a requirement for.
Dot,
yes, sir.
Apologies, your 2 minutes are up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? I'm seeing no hands raised. I'm going to turn it over to commissioner comments and questions. Any questions or comments? Vice Chair Cameron.
In the matter of text amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance TC2200002, Simplifying Codes for Affordable Development. UDO text amendment, I move for continuance of 90 days.
Second.
Moved by Vice Chair Cameron, seconded by Commissioner Cease. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Could you repeat the delays, or the continuance? I'm sorry, I was walking up, couldn't hear it.
90 days.
Okay.
Then we continue until 2024.
Yeah. Before we take the roll call vote, I'm going to turn to Commissioner Cutright for a quick question.
I just trying to understand the delay and like what's the expectation within these cycles that we're looking to delay. I want to be explicit about why we're delaying it and make sure that we get accomplished what it is that we want to accomplish within that. So if we can be explicit about why we're delaying it and what we're going to do within that time frame, I think that'd be helpful.
We have a committee that is reviewing this and will make recommendations to the rest of the commission.
If I could just add, the final proposed version, I think, was received by the commissioners, or at least the members of the subcommittee, just about 2 weeks ago. And so just in terms of the cycles of coordination for the subcommittee to meet, that's where the timing comes in.
Any other discussion, comments on the motion? Seeing none, may we have the roll call vote?
Yes, I just want to verify with Baker, did you second? No, who
No,
seconded?
it was
I'm sorry.
Vice Chair Cameron.
I
made
was
the motion.
literally walking up when y'all were doing that, so, and
Great, and
Cease,
Commissioner
did you
Cease
second? I got it.
Second, yes.
Just wanted to make sure. Okay, great. Okay, Chair Amendolia,
Yes.
Vice Chair Cameron,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Cutright,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Durkin,
Yes.
Commissioner McIver,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cease,
Yes.
Commissioner Carmen Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Zuri Williams.
Yes.
Okay, it passed. The continuance for 90 days or a 3-month cycle is unanimous.
Thank you. With that, we're going to move forward to our last agenda item on the evening. This is something that I cannot run. So Grace, I'm going to turn it over to you. This is our 2022 annual election of officers.
Okay. All right, so what we